Hello. Good afternoon and welcome to FPL Mate. We are on Friday. We certainly are on Friday. It is deadline day. It is deadline stream time. And hopefully we're ready to tackle the first blank game week of the season. Yes, there's been a few bits and bobs of injury news today, which is very relevant, particularly if you're a Salah owner. It isn't the best of news. I can't lie. Outside of Salah, there's a lot of players who are we don't have any clear answers on, to be totally honest, which is like the last thing. I know it's the last thing you want with a double game week around the corner. With a blank game week around the corner. Particularly as a lot of the players that you guys are kind of after, they're not playing today. So, there is going to be a lot of players who actually, we can sit here, we can go through the press conference notes, but, for example, Sunderland, they don't play until Sunday. People looking for Mukian, for, who else is from, Robin Ruffs, as well, the goalkeeper, even Ballard. All of those four guys I just mentioned, so Mukiele, Lefay, Ballard and Ruffs, all four of them are late assessments. And the late assessments won't even happen until tomorrow. So really there is quite literally no way of knowing. Unfortunately, there is literally no way of knowing whether any of those guys are going to be ready to play or not. The kind of continued message was that these players, particularly Mukiele, Ruffs, they were targeting a Game Week 31 return. But whether they'll actually hit that target seems to be in question a little bit. So, yeah, I really wish for the Sunderland boys in particular, I wish I could give you some straight news, but the fixture isn't until Sunday, and the late assessment that they will have is not going to happen even until after the deadline. So, even if there was any leaks, we wouldn't know about it until well after the deadline, unfortunately. So, yeah, bad news there. Maybe worth a transfer. I don't know, maybe worth the transfer. Maybe if you have like 10 men plus 2 doubtful players, then maybe you could just take a chance on one of the 2 doubtful players being available. But if you have, 10 playing players and 1 doubtful player, and you don't want to risk playing with 10 men, then at that point maybe it's worth a transfer. Probably not worth taking a hit though. I'll put it that way. Probably not worth taking a hit. Who else? Tarkowski. That's the other one. Oh, by the way, we've got everything flowing along the bottom here. Everything we know is down the bottom. So, wouldn't take a hit to remove Sunderland players generally, but if you have a free transfer, you want to give yourself some safety, then maybe. In terms of Tarkowski, again, it's the messaging is a little bit unclear. Although I have to say the press conference from David Moyes at Everton did seem a little more promising to me. It was more like, it was a little more hopeful. Like, we hope that Tarkowski and Branthwaite are going to be in and around the squad. So I don't know. I feel that sounds to me a little more positive, but again, it's certainly not anything definitive, is it? It's like, there's certainly nothing cut and dry there. So again, a little bit of mystery around Tarkowski as well, to be honest. So yes, the big headlines, very, very quickly. Oh, we've got a super chat very quickly from Orsello, who says, start Acheampong and hope a start, or Timber to Anderson. Chelsea fans, how likely is it for Acheampong to start this game week? Probably pretty unlikely, right? I mean, let's go on FOTMob. I can't remember the last time seeing Acheampong actually start. Let's have a look here. I'm just looking in the background. So we played 45 minutes against PSG. Well, to be fair, that's maybe positive. And he's been playing in the FA Cup as well. But not really in the Premier League. Pretty much never in the Premier League. Yeah. Well, the fact maybe the fact that he came on for... Who did he come? Did he even come on for Chalobah? I feel like he didn't. I feel like he didn't come on for Chalobah. But he did come on against PSG. I wonder if that is kind of a sign that he might start? That's a tough one. I guess you could just hope. Yeah. I mean, the other option is to... If the other option is to take a hit, then I wouldn't do it. But if you can like do Timber to Anderson for free, then maybe that's the play. Couple more super chat. Oh, another super chat here from T Blake Music says, is Gordon worth a -4 to get 11 players on the pitch? Maybe. Of the players who could potentially be worth a -4, then I think Gordon is maybe one of them. In order to get 11 men, I wouldn't do, I wouldn't take a -4 to do Mbermo to Gordon or Rodgers to Gordon or anything like that. But to replace, like, I don't know, a player who literally doesn't play with Gordon in order to get 11 men, then yeah, perhaps it is worth it. That's what I would say. Chelsea fans in the chat do seem to think that Achimpong is going to play, though. But I don't think you could be certain about that one. I think there's a good chance. Let me fix that, Doc. Is correctly identified in the chat that if you are taking a -4 to replace a player who isn't playing to someone who is playing to get 11 men on the pitch, that is called a -2. You're quite right. It is called a -2. So actually, whilst we're messing around, let's put my team on the screen. I've realised you're forced to just look at my face. But I'm sure you might want to see what my team is looking like right now, considering I am ready to go for the game week, which is very, very nice. But yeah, certainly, if you are replacing players who literally don't have a fixture in order to get 11 men on the pitch, it's a -2, really. It's a -2, and that's absolutely fine. What is your rank? We're up to 80k now, which is not too bad. I think there'll be some major gains over chip season. But yeah, 80k now is good now for me. So yes, lots of people buying Gordon, lots of people buying Wilson. I think, to be honest, Wilson seems to be the preferred choice among a lot of top FPL managers. If you don't like Wilson for whatever reason, or you already have him, then Gordon is going to be the next player to get. Would you sell Hill for Chow? No, definitely not. There are very, very few players who actually have a fixture that I would sell this week. It Snow says Alderete or Hill. I have 2 Manu, Bruno and Mbermo. I feel like I want to back up Manu and hope Newcastle Blanks don't own them. Yeah, I mean, the riskier play would to get the maximum amount of points would be to go for Alderete, but I think Hill is going to have higher points potential. Hill's got a better chance of DEFCON, for example, which could be points there. He's got probably a better chance of attacking returns as well in that game. So I think Hill is the better option between him and Alderete. But yeah, if you really do want to go all in on one side, then yeah, perhaps you can play Alderete. But Hill is the better option. Orsella says rank 23k for the first time. No, for first time? For free. Okay, rank 23k for free. Timber to Anderson, have Chow. I mean, yeah, you could do. If you're not confident on Achimpong, and I don't think I would personally be confident in Achimpong, then perhaps I would do that move, yes. If it's for free. Today I came from full sarcastic responses. Well, we'll see. We'll get there. It depends if there's any sarcastic responses that are justified. I feel like I'm going to barely talk today, though, even normally. Don't know why. Hi, Dan. Start Senesi or Van de Ven. Ooh. I think probably Senesi, just for DEFCON. Honestly, like, a lot of the transfers this week, a lot of the players you're going to play, a lot of the points that you're going to pick up are going to be based around DEFCON. We're expecting... Hang on. What are we looking for? We're looking for this. We're expecting a low-scoring game week. No team has projected that many goals. Not that many teams have projected high amounts of clean sheets either. So, even if there was 20 out of 20 teams playing, it would still be a pretty low-scoring game week. But there isn't. So we've got less teams playing and lots of kind of low-impact games, really. Low projected goals, low odds of clean sheets. Outside of Fulham and Newcastle, and maybe Man United in attack only, there's nothing really going on this week in terms of likely things to happen. So a lot of the points are going to come from Defcon. And yeah, again, I think the biggest tip this week is if you have a player who has at least okay points potential. So, if you have a Rodgers or an Mbermo or a Hill or, a defender who can get Defcon, a midfielder who can get Defcon, an attacker who you think is at least going to play 80 minutes or something, none of these players are worth selling for anyone because it's going to be a low-scoring game week, and transfers are going to be so valuable. And I'm pretty much in the camp that the only transfers that are worth making are transfers to get 11 men on the pitch, and that's pretty much it. Laser Sharp with the super chat says, "Hi Dan, how many chips do you have left, and are you using any this game week?" I have 3 chips left. I have the Wildcard, the free hit, and the bench boost, and I will be using 0 this game week. And I would recommend you guys do the same. If it's possible to go through this week without a Wildcard, I would go nowhere near a Wildcard, basically. So, or a free hit or anything. Just if you can avoid playing a chip this week, please avoid playing a chip. Does Tarkovsky have okay points potential? He's one I'd be on the fence with. Someone like him and Alderete, I'd kind of be on the fence with. Alderete, because you're probably not expecting many points from him. And Tarkovsky, because you don't know if he's going to actually play or not. So that way, I think you could go either way, whether you're looking for a replacement or not. What about Croupy? Maybe I would make a move to replace Croupy as well. I'd be kind of somewhere in the middle with him, leaning towards finding a replacement. Christian says, interesting with the -2 way of thinking. I think it's a -2 and a -4 later equals a -6. The player you bring in should produce 6 to finance the transfer you no longer have. Well, if you're taking a hit, if you're taking a -4, you're not losing a transfer. So you're not losing that. So I wouldn't say. So I'm not sure I agree with that one. Because you're in a situation, if you're taking a -4, you're in a situation where you don't have a transfer anyway. But the problem is, if you are doing it as a 1-week punt, you need that -4, or should I say -2, to repay you immediately. So you need to buy a player, essentially, who's going to score 5 or more points. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. Yugen Raj says, got 11 players, but unhappy with Rodgers. I don't need to read any further in this super chat to tell you that you don't need to transfer out Rodgers. You're unhappy with Rodgers, Ryan, and Gu. Got 2 free transfers. I already have Wilson, Ekatike, Bruno, and Mbermo, Igor, Virgil, Alderete, Hill. Wait, so is Gu counting as one of the 11 players? Because if so, yeah, you probably should be unhappy with that one. Rodgers is fine. Ryan is fine. So let's count these players. Rodgers, Ryan, Wilson, Ekatike, Bruno, and Mbermo, Igor, Thiago, presumably Virgil, Alderete, Hill, plus a goalkeeper. That does make enough players. Then yeah, maybe you do need to remove Gu. Do you have any money in the bank? If you have money in the bank, you could just do Gu to Raul Jimenez. If not, maybe I don't even know. You must have money in the bank because you've got no Haaland mentioned, unless he is just one of your blanking players. Yeah, difficult to say. Difficult to say. I mean, yeah, if you can replace Gu in 1 transfer, I would do that. If you can maybe do something in 2 transfers, it's really difficult to say. Maybe downgrading Rodgers to someone, maybe an Anderson at Forest, if you need to make two transfers to upgrade Gu. But if you have 11 men without having to play Gu, then you don't need to make any transfers. Kong says, thoughts on Iwobi versus Burnley. By the way, love your videos. Thank you very much, Kong. My thoughts on Iwobi versus Burnley are, if you have him, fine, but I wouldn't really be looking at buying him, to be honest. I mean, like, let's actually take a minute and look at Iwobi and not be drawn in by a couple of hauls that, let's be honest, actually happened a couple of weeks ago now. So, 10 points against Spurs. So, actually, forget the points. 1 goal against Spurs, 1 goal against Sunderland, and 1 assist against Sunderland. Outside of that, 1 goal against Man City, a goal and assist against Brentford, and an assist against Man United. So 4 goals, 3 assists in 24 starts. That is an attacking return every 3.5 games. And more often than not, those returns come in a pair. So, you know, he's blanking in. He's blanked. How many times is that? He's blanked 19 times and returned 5 times. And I think that probably tells you everything you need to know. Iwobi can do something magical and special, usually from very low XG, low XA, but that's probably just because it's more randomness. He happens to take a long shot and happens to go in. Goalkeeper has a howler, or he's just got one great shot in his locker every month or 2 months, or sideways pass that ends up finding a player who scores. But he's got poor numbers, not great shooting numbers, not good at creative numbers. I would not be buying this player at all. And I think the numbers that you see kind of back that up. Like, how often do you watch Fulham and think, yeah, Iwobi looks the most dangerous player on the pitch from an attacking point of view? Just not really. It's not really his role. So what do I think of Iwobi versus Burnley? You may as well pick, I don't know, Sander Berger versus Burnley. You may as well pick Sessegnon versus Burnley. You may as well pick Smith Rowe versus Burnley. You may as well pick Lukic versus Burnley. Chukwueze King. But no one talks about those because those players aren't the players who happen to have returned the most recently. So there you go. Wouldn't buy. Laser Sharp says, hi Dan, who's your captain this week? My captain is going to be, regrettably, it's going to be Bruno. But I really do want to captain Wilson. And part of that is similar to the point made earlier. Because I have Hill, do I really want to go double attack all in against Bournemouth? When Bournemouth playing at home have actually defended really quite well this season. But I would love to captain Wilson. He's my second favourite captain. But actually, if I wasn't worried about effective ownership, if I wasn't worried about rank threats, if I wasn't worried about throwing away my my first time this season in the top 100k, then I'd be going for Wilson. And I wish I could feel more brave or brave enough to go for Wilson. In fact, to be honest, by the end of the stream, I may feel brave enough to captain Wilson instead of Bruno. But there's no doubt about it, Bruno's the safe pick. For me, it's out of those 2 players, and I'm not even thinking about, even if I could have any player in the game, I wouldn't be thinking about anyone other than these 2 guys, Bruno and Wilson. They're just my favourite. Santos, looks like you put in a message as a super chat, but it is gone now. It's been deleted, so I'm not sure what that was. I'll try and keep an eye out for you in the chat, though, if you did have a question or anything. Ruben says, Rodgers to Gordon or roll? I would definitely roll that one. Definitely roll that one. Frederick says, is Mavropanos a good option? Better DEFCON than Juve? Yeah, if you're looking for DEFCON. But Juve is much better attacking-wise than Mavropanos. But, to be honest, I don't feel totally convinced by picking West Ham players away against Aston Villa. I'm not totally convinced by that one. So I guess unless you're looking for something really, 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 really cheap for a specific purpose, I don't really think I'll be looking at West Ham defenders, to be honest. Bit of a random one. How many free transfers have I got? I did have 3. I now have 1. I'm not going to use any more, though. Do you think Mukiele will play, or should I take a hit for Chow? I don't think I'd take a hit. But I also, I really don't know if Mukiele is going to be playing or not. I really don't know. It's like impossible to say. Should I free hit if I have 4 players blanking? No. No. I think I had 5 players blanking before I used my transfers. Didn't even consider a free hit. You don't need it, man. You don't need a free hit if you've only got a few players blanking. If you can get to 10 men, 10 playing men, whilst by the time you've used your free transfers, then you don't need a free hit. Like, I still think Gameweek 34 is going to be more dangerous in terms of blanks. You know, we're looking at 4 teams minimum blanking in Gameweek 34, and that will come after a Gameweek 33 transition. So you want the players that you want in Gameweek 33 will largely be the set players that you don't want in Gameweek 34, which basically means a chip for the transition between 33 and 34 is like essential. If you don't have a wild card, I would rather play with like 9 men, 8 men, 9 men than free hit in Gameweek 31 if you don't have a wild card. If you do have a wild card, I'd make every effort, even considering taking hits, to get 11 men to save playing your free hit. I really, 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 really do not recommend a free hit this week. Santos is back. Who would you recommend? I captain. I have Cunha and Burmo, Wilson, Rogers, and Dango. Oh, Wilson, easy. Wilson, easy out of those players. So, yeah, that's a straightforward one. Yeah, like I say, the only 2 players I'm really considering captaincy-wise is Bruno and Wilson. Anyone else, I don't really having much interest. Sharp Shark says, Dan, have you seen that the FPL Mate Mini League is the 3rd best in the world for average points? No, but that's incredible news, Sharp Shark. Thank you so much for sharing that. I didn't see that. No. Sometimes we're in the top 5, other times we're not, but it's really great to see that we are there and thereabouts. So awesome, basically awesome work, guys. Everyone in the Mini League. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Ipster says, my lineup for Game Week 31 is Virgil, Hill, Chow, Bruno, and Burmo, Stack, Wilson, Shara, Ekatike, and Thiago. Shall I use Petrovic or Allison? Oh, that's a good question. What are the clean sheet odds saying? I clicked the wrong thing. Petrovic, 18%. Allison, 25%. I think it's a pretty straightforward Allison. Deb is here, says Wilson/Bruno better for captain. A lot of people asking the same question here. Playing Thiago, Pedro, Ekatike, transferred Haaland out. Managed to keep Rice, Ray, Gabriel, bench. Thoughts? Yes, sounds good in terms of those transfers. In terms of those captains, Bruno if you're feeling safe, Wilson if you're feeling brave. But I am quite keen to get a captain poll out, actually. Alisson's injured? Since when? I mean, even if he is injured, if you have 2 goalkeepers and Alisson's one of them, you just play him and hope for the best. Alisson's not flagged. I didn't see anything in the press conference either. Was there something in the... Was there something I missed there? I'll just look it up on my phone. Oh, Fabrizio Romano just said it. Really? I'm pretty sure I'm probably getting trolled right now. I'm getting trolled, aren't I? Yep. Trolled. Well played. Well played. You've done a great job. But we can't risk that happening again, particularly towards the end of the stream. So we are going to have to put you in a 24-hour timeout, unfortunately. But yeah. Allison, you play. Santos says, I have a feeling Mbermo will eat this week. You know what? I really hope you're right. But honestly, I'm slightly concerned. Like maybe, I don't know, 15% concerned that he's going to get benched this week. But to be honest, he could score from the bench. So wouldn't be the end of the world. Right. Let's do a captain poll. Daniel, thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. Let's do a captain poll. Is there anyone outside of Bruno and Wilson that people are captaining this week? If so, let me know in the chat. Go in the chat, guys, now. Tell me if it's, who you're captaining. If it's not Bruno or Wilson, who is it? If you're someone captaining someone else. I want to get an idea on who like the 3rd most popular captain maybe is. so I can put them in the poll. A couple of people saying Gordon. Outside of that, maybe a bit of Palmer, a bit of Thiago. This is interesting. Actually, I think maybe Thiago is a little more popular than Gordon this week. He is, isn't he? Okay. Interesting stuff. Anderson versus Spurs, says Deb. Hey, I mean, I'm a big fan. I think this is set up for a, I'll say, potential haul. We'll put it that way. If Spurs keep giving midfielders space to shoot from range, which Anderson is doing loads of recently, and if Spurs continue to be weak against set pieces, which Anderson is taking, free kicks, which Spurs give away a lot of free kicks, corners as well. Anderson is on one side of the corners. Then, yeah, we are actually potentially set up for Anderson Hall this week. This is definitely a week that suits him. Definitely a week. Okay, let's do a poll. Guessing Thiago is much more highly owned than Gordon, though. Yeah, probably very true. Who is your Gameweek 31 captain? Is it Bruno Fernandes? Is it Harry Wilson? Is it Thiago or other? Let me know. Nice. Let's see how this goes. I think Bruno Fernandes might win. May win the poll. But you never know. You never know. Can you explain why the free hitting is not a good idea? My team looks strong with a free hit. Everyone's team looks strong with a free hit. But it's a case of whether your team will benefit more from a free hit later. But yeah, I'm happy to go over this. And the answer pretty much is that there is every chance that whatever issues blank game week 31 is causing you, if you look at this table, you can see which teams are blanking. And then look at the guys in red here, particularly the ones in the darker shades of red. These teams all have potential to blank. So technically, a maximum of 8 teams can have a blank game week in 34. More likely, 4 or 6 teams will blank in game week 34. That's the most likely scenario. And if so, that is going to cause just as much or more problems than game week 31 will, because there's literally more teams blanking, right? Then we have the transition between game week 33 and 34. So this is probably the most important part. And that is the fact that the same team, so the darker greens are the teams most likely to double in 33. So the teams in the darker greens are also the teams in the darker reds here, you can see. So what I'm trying to say here is that the teams most likely to double in 33 are the same teams that are most likely to blank in 34. And therefore, you're going to want to have a completely different team in game week 3 compared to game week 34. So, for example, let's just use Arsenal as an example. If, as we are projecting, they double in 33 and blank in 34, you are going to want to have triple Arsenal in 33, and you're going to want to have 0 Arsenal in game week 34. Now, how are you going to do that? Not just for Arsenal, but also for Chelsea. Triple Chelsea and then no Chelsea. Triple Newcastle and then no Newcastle, etc., etc. Well, the only way to do that is by using a chip at some point in game week 33 or 34. The free hit works really well because it allows you to basically choose one of these weeks and ensure you have a completely different team that week. So, for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wildcard in game week 32 to bring in, a lot of players who are blanking in 31. I'll actually want them back. I want some Arsenal players back. I want maybe some Man City players back as well. So I'm going to wildcard them back in game week 32. I'm going to bench boost them in game week 33. And then I'll have all of these players who double in 33 but then blank in 34, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to free hit them out in game week 34. Alternatively, you could maybe wildcard in 34. That's the only way you could work a free hit this week is if you wildcarded in 34. That's the only other way. But in order to kind of pull that one off, you need to have a lot of players who will double in 33 already in your squad. And we don't even know for sure who will double. And we won't know until after game week 31 who will double. So those are kind of lots of reasons why using a free hit now is just not the best idea. It's just mostly because you're free hitting with zero, limited information about 33 to 34, and indeed 36, possibly 37 as well as a possible blank. There's so much to be had. So you're kind of using your chip blind, not knowing if you'll need it later, but more importantly, knowing that you probably will need it later at some point or another. So that's why I wouldn't. Unless your team is absolutely in tatters. And I mean, you've got triple Arsenal, triple City, but also you have 3 injured players and just no way of scraping together a squad without taking several hits. At that point, you consider using a free hit in 31 and probably going for a wildcard in 34. But outside of that, I don't think there's really much justification for it. But anyway, whilst I was saying all of that, we did miss some super chats. JJ watches videos, says best 1 week punt, Joao Pedro or Gordon. I prefer Gordon as a 1 week punt. Yugen Raj says Dango, Anderson or Gordon for this week. Gordon out of those 3. Well, there you go. Oh my word, I feel awful. Allison actually is out. But you have a second account, Nick, which is interesting. Nick, honestly, I thought you were trolling. I can only apologise. So it happened on Instagram, did it? Let's just 100% verify this. All right, breaking. Alisson suffers a new injury and will be out of Brazil week this month. New issues for Liverpool goalkeeper, with Georgian goalkeeper Mamardashvili expected to take his spot this weekend. It's true. I do apologise, Nick. I do apologise. Sorry, I just genuinely thought it was a troll because I couldn't find anything. Nobody said anything on Twitter. And yeah, you must have been on it on Instagram before it broke anywhere else. Fair play, man. Fair play. I can only apologise. Fair play. You are more ahead of the game than anyone else. Yeah, there's a good chance Nick is Fabrizio. Looking at the timings, there's a good chance that Nick actually said it before Fabrizio even posted it. In the know, what can I say? Frederick Fitness says West Ham defender, apart from Liverpool game, has not been that bad. That's a fair point, to be fair. West Ham have been keeping a clean sheet. Well, new theory is that Nick is Allison. Yeah, that's also a possibility. But we better add that to the ticker. Yes, Nico, it's just broken now that Allison is gonna be out this game week. I better put it onto the ticker there. Wow. How about that, guys? I mean, let's be honest. How many of you guys actually own Allison in your team? Probably not many. SS Red says geniuses are always ridiculed at first throughout history. Time looks back on them favourably. Respect to Nick. I can't, you know what? Yeah, fair. Totally fair. Hold my hands up on that one. Yugen Raj says Dango, Anderson or Gordon for this week. I swear I already answered this one. Yeah, I did. I said Gordon. Out of those 3 players, I would bring in Gordon. Maybor says, hi, mate, I have Njai and Stack. Should I start them both, then make transfers? I mean, yeah, I would rather just start those guys than make transfers. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Again, really the only players I would be looking at using transfers on are blanking players in order to get 11 men on the pitch. Anything after that is luxurious. Surely Gordon is a minutes risk? I mean, yeah, some people would say he played, 80 odd minutes, 81, 82 minutes, something like that, in the midweek. But like derby game, pre-international break, I don't know. I feel like Gordon probably will play. I mean, we could never be 100% sure. Gordon has historically been a rotation risk player. He has been a minutes risk player. And, you know, if he was benched this game week, then, you know, we can't be completely surprised by that. But I think it's more likely that he starts than doesn't by some margin. I do think there's a good chance he's a 60-minute sub, though. Sub off. Jacob says, Mukiele later Anderson from -4, wildcarding next week. Only if... Would I actually do that? Honestly, probably not, no. Honestly, probably not. Not for a -4. Like, a player who's, like, touch and go whether they'll start, I wouldn't take a -4 for these guys. If it was, like, a free transfer, then maybe. But not for a -4. Not for a -4. Do I think Osler is a rotation risk? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would be like 90% sure Osler is not starting. Because Gordon's been playing as the striker, right? So, yeah, I don't think Osler will start. Sell Tarkowski for Chow or Rice for Gordon. I have Anderson, Wilson, all the other essentials. No Newcastle players at all, though. Well, I'm going into this game week with no Newcastle either. I'm not that worried. You know, derby match against Sunderland, anything can happen. Anything can happen at all. Rice for Gordon, I like, though. Tarkowski to Chow, only if it's absolutely essential. And if it's for free as well. Dan and Jai, Sar, Gay out, Anderson, Gordon, Trippier in for a -4. Do we need to transfer out and Jai? Probably not, right? Probably not. Particularly to get Trippier. There's a good chance Livramento starts this game week, by the way. I wouldn't be totally convinced by Trippier. Livramento's back now, available. So, yeah, good chance. Can't afford Chow. What do you think about Livra/Trippier? Nah, I don't think so. I think one of the big benefits of going for Chow is that he has DEFCON potential. And I think if you lose that appeal and replace that appeal of DEFCON with a player who's not going to get DEFCON and is also rotation risk, then, you know, the motivation to buy Newcastle defenders kind of just goes out the window for me. So, no. It's Chow or Hall or nobody from that Newcastle back line. Any update on Mukiele? The update is that he is going to have an assessment, a late assessment before his game on Sunday to decide whether he can play or not. So, yeah, a couple of days before, well, it would be at least a day before that decision is made. So, no way to know. Chow over Hill this week? Yeah, I mean, for sure, if you have Chow, you play him. I would say probably Anderson at Fulham and Chow at Newcastle are probably the two best defenders this game week. And, you know, I'd play them above anyone. I don't think there's any other defenders I'd play ahead of those two guys. Hey, Dan, is Raul Jimenez a good pick? I do think he is, yes. I do think he comes with some risk, and that's, you know, the minutes, of course. Don't necessarily think he'll be benched, but we're seeing a lot of early subs from him. A lot of early subs. Szoboszlai or Atara? Out of the two, I prefer Szoboszlai. Now, yeah, in fact, that's a great point, and we haven't really touched on Szoboszlai. I did kind of put Szoboszlai a little lower in the buy, sell, keep, avoid tier list this week. That was before Salah got injured. However, now that Salah is injured and going to be out for game week 31, that puts Szoboszlai on penalties. And that, my friends, is very, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, to the extent where I'm quite keen, actually, on someone like Szoboszlai. Would I pick him above Wilson? Probably not. But I think Szoboszlai has to be in the same conversation as someone like Gordon. If you already have Wilson and you're deciding, okay, I need another midfielder. I already have Wilson. I already have Bruno Fernandes. Who's like the next best midfielder? I think Szoboszlai is now in that conversation with Gordon. I don't know who to say is better or worse. And maybe the fact that Alisson's injured kind of has a small knock-on effect. Maybe makes Does that make Szoboszlai worse? I don't know. Probably not, to be honest. But yeah, both really nice picks. I mean, I put both. I've seen a few people mention Palmer in the chat, and I think if you didn't have the money for Palmer, you wouldn't be speaking about him at all. Or alternatively, if all players were the same price, if Palmer was the same price as Gordon and Szoboszlai, I think less people would be talking about buying Palmer. But honestly, I prefer Szoboszlai to Palmer. I prefer Gordon to Palmer. We're looking at Szoboszlai, Palmer, and Gordon, right? As that next tier below your Bruno and your Wilson. All three take penalties. I would say out of the three, Palmer has been in the worst form out of the three. And Palmer also has the worst fixture of the three. So why buy Palmer over a Gordon or a Szoboszlai? Don't really see the benefit. I think people are just trying to spend the money that they have. And I think actually Gordon and Szoboszlai are better picks than Palmer this week. Easier fixtures, better form, just as much penalties and set pieces as Palmer. So there we go. How about João Pedro? João Pedro is different because we are a little more limited in terms of forwards this season, just generally, which has been a nightmare. If you do desperately need a new forward, then I think João Pedro has to be in the conversation. But if we're looking at game week 31 in isolation, there's about 10 forwards that I can reel off to you now, and I'm really struggling to put any one player above any of the others. I mean, let's try it. Let's try and do 10 forwards that I all think have about as much potential as each other. So we'll go with my two forwards first of all. Thiago Ekitike. We'll add João Pedro to that conversation. I can say Bowen, Calvert-Lewin, Raul Jimenez, Ollie Watkins maybe has a fixture. Šeško, if he starts, could be in and around the same amount of points. Who's missing? Who haven't we mentioned? Probably not anyone like someone like Voltemada. Other forwards that could be okay this week. Trying to go through the teams in my head. Robbie? Maybe not. Maybe not Robbie. You know what? What at Welbeck? Welbeck at home against Liverpool with no Alisson. Definitely worth putting Welbeck in that conversation. And Richarlison. Great. Richarlison. We said Calvert-Lewin, I think. Yeah, we said Šeško as well. There you go. So 10 forwards. And honestly, out of those 10 forwards, can you honestly tell me that any one of those players is like clearly ahead of the rest? I don't think so. If I had any 2 or 3 of those 10 forwards, I'd be pretty comfy with that. Wouldn't even be thinking about transfers or anything. Wouldn't be thinking about benching. I'd just be like playing them and like, yeah, crack on, let's go. They're all fine. Triple captain Bruno? Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Bruno is going to have far better fixtures than Bournemouth away this season. Far better fixtures than than Bournemouth away. Would you play Alderete and Chow? I have 2 free transfers and blank players in the bench. I mean, if you have Alderete and Chow, Chow is definitely play. Alderete is perfectly playable. I don't think he's a great pick necessarily, but he's playable. Will Mukiele play, or should I take a -4? I wouldn't take a -4, but also I have no idea. I think he's like 50-50 whether he's going to play or not. But I wouldn't take a -4 to replace him. Tarkowski in my 11 with no subs. Is this okay? I don't know. I don't know because we don't know whether Tarkowski's going to play or not. We really don't know. I'd certainly rather keep Tarkowski than take a -4 though. Maybe if you have free transfers, you could try and resolve it. YouTube says, should I get Gibbs White? Wouldn't captain him. Maybe you could get him potentially. If you do want to go for something a bit different, I think you could do a little worse than go for Gibbs White. My one concern is that it could be a bit of a cagey game, which maybe suits set piece takers a little bit more than open play guys. Gibbs White penalties, to be fair, maybe on some set pieces. Maybe. MacMeister says, play Lucas Perez or use a free transfer for a better. Does Lucas Perez even play? That's a question I would like to know. Has he been playing? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he has been playing, to be fair. Not every game, but some games. He didn't play last. He didn't start last game. Who did start last game? It was Hartman back. So isn't Hartman first choice, though? Maybe not, actually. Been on the bench quite a few times recently. If you can replace him for free, then, which is, you say you can, then yeah, maybe just use a free transfer, get someone else. Yeah, I think if it's free transfers, I would use a free transfer to get something better. Daniel says, I have 11 playing players, but thinking about 2 free transfers. Keane to Anderson, Haaland to Bowen to replace Alderete. Who would move to the bench? Also, I'm wildcarding 32. What do you think? I think if you don't even know who you would bench, you're making transfers without even knowing who you would bench. I think that is a very, very, very good sign that you shouldn't be making the transfers in the first place. So, Keane to Anderson, I understand a little bit because there's no guarantee that Keane actually plays this game week. If Tarkowski and Branthwaite are both available, which, I mean, both being available, to be honest, I don't know how likely both being available is. Probably not super high. So there's definitely going to be a temptation to just keep and play Keane. But out of the moves, though, Keane to Anderson would be something I would be willing to do. And outside of that, if you have 11 men, nah, no transfers. Nick says Alderete to Chow or Anderson to Szoboszlai, 1 free transfer or roll. Anderson is in Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson, there's no way you should be selling this week. Honestly, I think he has some of he has genuine haul potential this game week. Genuine haul potential. DEFCON, long range shots, which Spurs love conceding. Set pieces, free kicks that Spurs love giving away. Corners that Spurs love conceding from. There's a lot in favour of Elliot Anderson this week. I would not be looking to sell him. Alderete to Chow, maybe. It's a little bit of a luxury move, but I'm not totally against it. Comedy Addict says squash or water, given it's a blank game week. It is still squash, I'm afraid. Water maybe comes in on April Fool's Day. Because I'd have to be a fool to give up my wonderful squash. I'd have to be a fool. Right. How is our captain poll coming along? Quite well. 70% of you guys on Bruno Fernandes, 23% on Wilson, which is not nothing. It's not nothing. 3% on Thiago and 5% on other. Wow. That is genuinely quite interesting. Nixter says, okay to sell Erling for Hugo. I wildcard game week 32. Yeah, I mean, if you like it. If you like Hugo Ekitike and it gets you to 11 men, then yep. Fair enough, fine. Comedy Addict says, Njai, Ekitike or DCL, who scores the most / least points this week, in your opinion? Maybe Ekitike most and Jai least, probably. But I wouldn't write off Calvert-Lewin either. Not a huge amount in it, I don't think, between those players. But I think Ajay is the worst out of the three. -4 Petrovic to either Leno or Martinez? No way, man. I have a free transfer, so not even a -4, and I'm playing Dubravka, who is even worse than Petrovic this week, and I'm still sticking with it. So to take a -4 for a goalkeeper who is actually playing this week, craziness, absolutely not. Do I think Tarkowski plays? I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm probably 60-40 in favour of Tarkowski playing, which is not great odds. when you need guarantees in a blank game week. I admit that. But yeah, I think Tarkovsky is slightly more likely to play than not, but be fully prepared. Be fully prepared for a benching. Red Devil says, FPL Mate, big fan. Thank you very much, Red Devils. Always appreciated. Will Enzo Lafay and Mukiele play? This one I'm just completely in the dark about. We mentioned it a couple of times, so I do apologise for repeating myself for those of you who have been around the stream for a little while, but these players are going to have late assessments. These late assessments are going to take place tomorrow, so there's no way of knowing now if they'll play or not. So I could throw out a random number, what my intuition says about how likely they are to play. Well, you know, it's going to be something stupid like 50%, which doesn't help anyone. Is it too early to start pestering you for bench list? It is slightly too early. Slightly too early. We will do the bench list, as always, at 1 hour till deadline, as is tradition. As is FPL Mate deadline stream tradition. So, yeah, in 24 minutes, we'll boot up the bench list. Borlax says, time to drop a like, everyone. Toss a like to your streamer. Oh, chat of plenty. Oh, chat of plenty. Oh. Please do drop a like. Toss a like to your streamer. It is massively appreciated, those of you who do like the streams. It really is. Verts is in my team as a differential, says Clifford. I don't mind that, to be fair. I don't mind that. He may step up with the absence of Verts. Tyler says, bench list, I can't even fill an 11. Yeah, okay, but to be fair, the bench list... Now, this is... And please, we are not going to make this a habit at all. Because the bench list, I always say, is not a transfer list. The bench list is just not a transfer list. And it's meant to be just for one game week. Who are your priority players? Nothing to do with transfers. However, if you are committed to wildcarding next week, that means every player has... You know, it's going to be a 1 week punt for you essentially this week. So if I was to put, I don't know, if I was to put on the bench list Anderson above Chow, for example, then actually you can look at those two players and say, oh, Dan fancies Anderson more than Chow for game week 31. Therefore, if I'm buying a defender, maybe I should buy Anderson. Similar, you know, if Gordon, Wilson, Soboslai, and Dango are all on the bench list, and someone's thinking, oh, I fancy a new midfielder this week. For 1 week only, who is the priority play? Well, I guess it's whoever's highest on the bench list, right? Is going to be the best player to buy as well as play, right? Because it's the same thing for a 1 week pump. So, for 1 week only, the bench list can actually be used as a potential transfer target list. But I cannot stress enough, that is not usually going to be the case. It's a one special week. It's special. Everyone asking about free hitting this week. I will always recommend that you do not free hit this week. S-Red says, Dan fancies Anderson over Chow and must now buy Chow. Hey, come on, man. You really... the FPL Mate curse of the last couple of seasons has been broken by this point. So, I don't know about that. Weird Worm says, do you have to pay to join your FPL league? Nope. No, you do not. You do not at all. It is completely free to join. It's a caretaker manager league, so you can join my FPL league for absolutely free, and actually the winner will get an upgrade on their club worth FPL told me it's worth $100. I thought it was worth $80, but it actually might be maybe it is worth $100. But yeah, basically you win a prize of somewhere between $80 and $100 value if you win my FPL league, and the link to that is actually in the stream description, because I thought I'd throw it in there. I thought maybe after deadline I'll show you a little bit how it works. I think it's so cool, and like I'm not even being paid to talk about them today. I was in yesterday's video, I'll be honest with you guys. Yesterday was a sponsored video of FPL, but I wanted this sponsorship. I made it happen, and I actually want to what it's all about, and I want to get you guys involved because I want to play against you guys in Footium. So there's a link at the top of the description if you want to join in on that one. Up to you. Right, let's check out some of these super chats. Why not free hit? All right, we'll come back to that one. I know we have mentioned it already, but we'll go over it again. And Josh says, used last free transfer on Rodgers for Wilson, 11 men wildcard next week. Fair enough, Josh, fair enough. I mean, maybe a little luxury move, but I think getting Wilson in place is probably the safe option. If that's the only way to get Wilson, then, and you just want to, you know, play it safe, get that player that everyone else owns. Maybe you even want to captain Wilson and it was for free, then I guess fair enough. But it is a little luxury. I can't lie. Why not free hit? Right, we'll go over this very, very quickly. But the gist is, in blank game week 31, we have 4 blanks. In game week 34, we have 4 or 6 blanks, most likely, but anywhere up to 8. So, in theory, on paper, Game Week 34 is likely to be a bigger double game week than Game Week 31. Also, the transition between double Game Week 33 and 34 is difficult to navigate without the use of a chip. So if you have used your wild card, you are going to find it impossible to navigate Game Week 33 to 34 without the use of your free hit. So if you've already wildcarded, if you choose to free hit this week, having already wildcarded, you are screwed between Game Week 33 and 34. You know, if you free hit this week and wildcard in Game Week 33, any time before 34, any week other than 34, you are screwed for Game Week 33 or 34. If you free hit this week, you are forced to use your wildcard in Game Week 34. So that's the point number 1. Point number 2 is that it just locks off so many other chip strategies. It really doesn't help a lot of things. So, free hit, no. This week, no. Ideally, you should have been planning for Game Week 31. We've done lots of videos talking about how Game Week 31 is going to be a blank game week and to be cautious about bringing in Arsenal and Man City players. But if you've kind of not really prepared for Game Week 31 and your team is just completely screwed, and by completely screwed, I mean triple City, triple Arsenal, and 3 injured players, something like that. So you've got 9 players unavailable for this game week. At that point, if you have no free transfers to deal with it either, or not enough free transfers to deal with it, at that point you consider free hitting, but it is an absolute last resort reserved. In my opinion, it should be reserved only for like the bottom like 1% of worst teams for Game Week 31. So 99% sure it is not going to be the strategy for you. But of course, only you know. But again, beware. If you are going to free hit in Game Week 31, it forces you to wildcard in 34 in order to successfully navigate the future doubles and blanks. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. Right, next question from the History of Humanity. Says, 11 start, wildcard next week, use or save my 2 free transfers. I mean, if you're reasonably happy with your starting 11 who will play, then yeah, I would be saving the transfers there. Just a reminder, guys, because I know some people, maybe forgot this. To be fair, it's a fairly new rule. If you're wildcarding in Game Week 32, you can roll your transfers through the wildcard. They changed the rules last season where any transfers you have saved going in the week before a wildcard, you will get back after you wildcard. So, for example, for me, I'm rolling 1 transfer. I've saved 1 transfer. I'll wildcard in Game Week 32. And then in Game Week 33, I'll have 2 free transfers because I saved 1 from way back in Game Week 31 by that point. So yeah, you can roll your transfers through the wildcard now. You can roll your transfers through the free hit now as well. So there's no need to force transfers, even if you are free hitting this week. The idea of kind of dead ending, using all your transfers to dead end is not really too bad. It's not really too bad. Birides says, are other options aside from Wildcard 32 always hard to find the right 11 after the international break? At least you can gain some money with this long break. 24 months in counting. Well, okay, on intuition, and we'll do a proper video on this, guys. Don't worry. Before the Game Week 32 deadline, when we have the clear picture with doubles and blanks, we'll do a proper chip strategy video, which will be really good, I hope. But other strategies include maybe free hit 33, wildcard 35. And that requires basically that you can get a full starting 11 for game week 34. So if your team looks good for game week 31, looks good for game week 32, looks terrible for game week 33, free hit game week 33, your team should hopefully look good for 34, and then you wildcard in 35 to get whatever players you want for the remainder of the season, and maybe set up a bench boost in game week 36 or 37. Like, honestly, I was looking through this, and I know a lot of people talking about bench boost 36 just because it's a double game week, or likely to be a double game week. However, actually, when I look through this, if you're not bench boosting in 33, the second best week to bench boost looks like game week 35 to me. Because we see a lot of the cheaper assets actually have decent fixtures in game week 35. So you've got like Bournemouth players at home against Crystal Palace, Brentford players at home against West Ham. You've got Leeds at home against Burnley. You've got, what else? Sunderland and Wolves play each other. So game week 35, you have a lot of cheaper FPL assets with good fixtures there, which maybe, even Dubravka against Leeds, for example, if you want to go cheap on the goalkeeper. Like, game week 35 looks, as far as single game weeks go, probably the best single game week, or likely single game week, for the remainder of the season in terms of, bench boost potential. So, yeah, if you're not bench boosting 33, 35 could be an option. But it's going to be so, team dependent. Mad Cobra says Cunha or Mbeumo. Honestly, at this point, maybe starting to swing in favour of Cunha. Just because Mbeumo's form has just not been there. And actually, we saw Mbeumo get slightly earlier sub last game week, which worried me a little bit. I mean, to be fair, he is getting a lot of subs in the 70s. Yeah, I'm a little worried about Mbeumo. So if I could pick between the two now, I'd probably go Cunha. Nicole says, Dan, you just saved me the Mukiele transfer. How so? How so? How have I saved the Mukiele transfer? Random more pay emoji. Yeah, I mean, there is one. Damn, that changed everything. What changes everything? What have I done? I don't know what I've done. What, talking about the different chip strategies? Mukiele won't be playing. Well, it's like still super risky this week, but have I maybe inspired you to a different chip strategy potentially? With 2 free transfers, would you sell Dango to Gordon or should I sell Rodgers? No. Dango, Rodgers, I would not be selling these guys. I mean, what's wrong with Dango? Dango's fine for this week, no? Gordon or Szoboszlai? Gordon or Szoboszlai is tough, It is tough. I am maybe leaning towards Szoboszlai at this point. I can't lie. I'm maybe leaning Szoboszlai. There's not much in it. No Chelsea players, Dan. Nope. And I'm fine with that as well. I think away against Everton, it's not the greatest of fixture. I think Chelsea are clearly not in good form right now. So, you just said that wildcards don't reset your number of transfers you have prior to activating the chips. Oh, yeah. Well, good. Oh, happy to help. Happy to help. Anderson or Chow? I prefer Anderson. Chow's good too. Thoughts on Pascal Gross on wildcard? Let's talk about that next game week, but yeah. Potentially, to be fair. Potentially. Subs like also on pens this week and racks up DEFCON. I know, Andrew. This is what I'm saying. This is why I really am. Now that Salah is injured, I really am thinking much, much more deeply about Szoboszlai as a pick. Much more deeply. I don't regret going for Wilson or anything like that. I still think Wilson's better than Szoboszlai, but I definitely think he's in the conversation with Gordon, Palmer. To be fair, I think they're both better than Palmer. Yeah, really interesting pick, Szoboszlai this week. Really interesting pick. Hi, Dan. Have Mukiele as an 11th transfer, as an 11th player. Should I make a transfer? If it's a free transfer, maybe. If it's for a hit, no. In your opinion, why is Bruno the better captain? Because he's the safer captain. If I'm totally 100% honest with you guys, I prefer Wilson as a captain. If I wasn't playing FPL against other people, and I was just trying to rack up points, I would probably captain Wilson. But there's no doubt about it that Wilson is a riskier captain than Bruno. But I do prefer Wilson this week. I think the matchup suits Wilson a lot more, actually. Bruno, however, is safe and secure and consistent, and everyone will be captaining Bruno. So it seems like Bruno captain is a sensible choice, but Wilson captain. I mean, I wish I could be convinced to captain Wilson. I wish someone could convince me, because I'd love to do it. I just don't have the minerals. I think, to be fair, and I know this is a stupid reason to not captain a player, but I'm looking at the fixtures, right? And every game here is televised in the United Kingdom other than Fulham versus Burnley. It's the only game not being shown on TV this weekend. So, does that have an impact on my decision making? Quite possibly, yeah. Quite possibly. FPL Wild Dogs, Dango and Coyote, Dingo and Coyote. You know what? Fair play. Fair play. That's a nice little pun. I like that. Last season's Dan would captain Wilson. Oh, you're so right. You're so right. But like last season's Dan finished with his lowest finish of the last. Well, since I started playing FPL properly, since I started taking FPL seriously, last season was my worst season. So I don't know if I want to take advice from last season's Dan, particularly, to be honest. Whereas this season, I'm doing all right. Don't think we need to go too crazy. But yeah, no, there's for sure a part of me that just wants to go. Boom. That's the heart. This is the heart. And this is the head. Who do I listen to? Are you locked in with Alderete on the bench? I am, yeah. Yeah, pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with my team. Is Brighton away that good of a fixture for Szoboszlai? No. Not particularly, no. But there isn't really any good fixtures this game week. There's no good fixtures this week. It's annoying. You could argue, I think Fulham versus Burnley is really the only okay fixture this week. Even Newcastle versus Sunderland is okay, but I wouldn't say that's, a fixture that you target necessarily. If it wasn't a blank game week, we wouldn't be really talking about Gordon and Chow. Really, would we? Bench list in 8 minutes. Karma. Hi, Dan. I have 5.5 million in the bank and a defender injured. Who to buy? Anderson or Chow? Boring answer, but it is the best answer in my opinion. Thoughts on Rodgers to Gordon? Nope. Timber to Anderson, I like. Rodgers, I just don't think is worth a transfer to anyone other than Wilson or Bruno Fernandes. Rodgers to Wilson, Rodgers to Bruno, I get it, particularly if you're going to captain the player. Outside of that, nope. Joao Pedro or Raul Jimenez? Joao Pedro if you want to play it safe. Raul Jimenez if you want to take a risk. I don't think there's a worse option out of those two. I think they're both good, but just both have different risk profiles. Rice to Barnes or Gordon? Definitely not Barnes, but if you do like Gordon, then him. You have a free transfer. You really want to bring in Wilson. Should you sell Rodgers or Dango? I'd sell Rodgers before I sold Dango. Dango's absolutely fine for this week. Probably one of the stronger picks in midfield. Not like one of the very top picks, but one of the stronger ones. Wilson versus Raul? Oh, it's Wilson. It's a Wilson party. This fixture suits Wilson in many ways. He's going to find spaces and openings to take shots and create. With Burnley playing quite aggressively at the moment, he's going to have set pieces to take as well, which is going to be nice. And Burnley do concede chances from set pieces. I think Burnley are just, they're quite disorganised with their press, and I think that is going to benefit Wilson. Which is again why I'm thinking Wilson captain. Whereas I look at Bournemouth, Bruno against Bournemouth away, There's no tactical matchup there, really, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't say that this is a fixture that suits Bruno in particular. But Bruno's Bruno, man. Bruno's Bruno. Start 2 of Enzo, Ryan, or Sharda. I would start Sharda and... It's a coin toss between Enzo and Ryan. I don't know. Pick your favourite. Who do you prefer? Who looks nicer in your team? Wilson 2 goals and an assist. Well, to be fair, Wilson 2 assists and a goal in the reverse fixture, and I don't think that's a coincidence because I just think this fixture suits Wilson. Let's look here. Wilson's numbers against Burn. Actually, let's go one step further. Let's do it on Opta. So, what game week was it that Wilson played against Burnley last? And we'll have a look at his numbers from that week. Wasn't that long ago, was it? Game week 16. So, game week 16. I'm just going to order by X points. Wilson was up there. Only Ahmad beat him. So, 2 shots, 2 on target, 2 in the box, 0.59 XG. 3 key passes, 2 big chances created, 0.8 XA. Which made him the second best for expected goal involvements of the week. Last time, Salah was second. No, sorry, third. Without a return. It's not bad. It's not bad. Usually I don't love reverse fixture kind of looking at that. But like when the reverse fixture was only a couple of months ago, I think it's maybe more worth taking into consideration. Right now, Enzo because of pens. Although Enzo won't have pens if Palmer's on the pitch. Crab World says, I'm captaining Elliot Anderson. Let's go. I don't hate it. I actually don't even hate it. Like, I cannot criticize. I simply cannot. Captain Wilson, thank me later. Is that right, Terrace? Is that right? I mean, I'd love to. I'd love to Captain Wilson. I need reassurance. I wonder if I can get that reassurance on Twitter. Maybe I should post. Maybe we'll do a post. Oh, we've got new market odds from Rob T as well. We may as well have a look at that in a moment. We'll have a look at that in a minute, guys, and then we'll do bench list. But first, I'm going to try and find some reassurance. No, I've got to stay on the Bruno train. Or if I don't want to, I want to see if someone can convince me first. I really want to captain Harry Wilson, but I don't have the bravery. Can someone inspire me to change my captain from Bruno? Braveheart style. Please. Oh, bravery, I don't have the courage. Okay. Let's post that and see if anyone can... We'll read through the responses to that one as well. We'll see if there might be something funny. There might be something amusing. There might be something helpful in there. You never know. Right. Let's see. Crab World says, hate captaining the opening game of the week. I agree, and that's another motivation to not captain Bruno, I suppose. Right, anyway, let's have a look at the updated market odds. Ooh, wait, hang on. Something's changed. I want to see what the difference is. Fulham are ups. Yeah, I thought so. I was going to say, Fulham look up, man. So let's compare it to last. So that's the new. That's the old. Okay. So Man United are up slightly. Bournemouth are down slightly. Fulham are up. Up in attack, down in defence. Okay. What else is interesting? Not much change on Aston Villa. Trying to just compare these two. Liverpool and Brighton are both down slightly on expected or projected goals. Chelsea are down a little bit. Everton are up a little bit. Newcastle are down a tiny bit. Sunderland are up a tiny little bit. Spurs are up a little bit. Forest down a little bit. That's a big boost on Fulham. That could be the convincer I needed. Fulham up 0.11 projected goals. I feel like there is some significance there. That's interesting to me. How about that? How about that? Right. Should we do bench list? Shall we do it? And today, guys, we can use the bench list as a transfer list as well. If you're looking for 1 week punts, this is your bench list / 1 week punt list today, which is good fun. I'm just going to throw in a couple of names in there just to start us off. Okay. Yeah, I've just thrown a few names in here, guys, and then I'll throw it on screen. Just give me 1 moment. But whilst I'm doing this, actually, feel free to let me know who you want to see on the bench list. Throw it in the chat. We'll add some players to the bench list. Okay, I started us off with a couple of players. Let's throw it on the screen. Scott says, I didn't captain Bruno last week because I thought his XG was too low for a captain. Thought the max he'd get was an assist or 2, and he got it. True. Wilson will be the story of Gameweek 31. Captain him. I like that, to be fair. No risk, no story, says Denzel. Captain Wilson. I agree. It is a case of risk versus safety, I guess. Is Mbermo playing? Yeah, I think probably, but we'll find out in what, an hour 10, hour 15. Right, who's going on the bench list, guys? Who's going on the bench list? Tell me. Right, Rodon. Rodon, by the way, is perfectly fine for this week, I think. So we'll put Rodon here. Hill. Rodon versus Hill is interesting. Would I put Hill above Rodon? Hill's just a DEFCON guy, though. That's it, isn't it? I'm gonna put them similar. I don't think we've got much to split them. I'm gonna put Hill here, and we'll put Hill / Senesi. We'll put them together. Actually, no. I'm gonna put Senesi slightly lower because, in fact, I'm gonna put Senesi below Rodon because the one advantage of Hill is that even though Bournemouth probably lose their clean sheet, Hill is more likely to get an attacking return. And the one thing that is giving Senesi any kind of advantage over Hill is the fact that him not taking shots is meaning that he's doing better in the bonus point system. But if you're going to lose your clean sheet, then not taking shots becomes a disadvantage because you're not going to get bonus points regardless. Surely Dubravka is above Verbruggen? Nope. Nope. I don't think so. Why would he be? Brighton play at home, and they are a stronger defense than a significantly stronger defense than Burnley. So I understand, fixture and stuff, but I think the home factor and the quality of the defense overrides the fact that the opponent is slightly more difficult. Why is Alderete flagged? So my apologies. That should say Mukiele. My apologies. I'm going to put Alderete here, by the way. I do apologise. That must have been very scary for a few Alderete owners. Right, Tarkovsky maybe goes a little lower. But I still think you chance him over someone like Krupi if you have both. Is Vicario out? I thought he was going to play and then he's going to have his surgery after. But, I mean, I might be wrong. Do people have Vicario? I have Mbomo listed twice. Oh, yes. That one is not meant to be there. Let's throw some more players in here. Let's just for the sake of, I know people are not going to be benching these players, but I'm going to put Szoboszlai here. I'm going to put Gordon there. I'm going to put Palmer here. May end up removing some of these players, but just like for reference on what my preferred order is, and it's just my personal preference. Enzo is going to be a player we need to throw in here for sure. I'd maybe throw him down here. Similar to Rodgers. I maybe put Rodgers above Enzo, to be fair. Tatty's not going on there, I'm sorry. Keane. I guess Keane goes here. Ballard from Sunderland. Probably similar to Mukiele. Is it worth using 2 free transfers to get Gordon and Chow for Dalot and Enzo? Probably not, no. You can maybe do one of the 2 transfers. Garner. Okay. Garner can go somewhere. Garner can go above Enzo. Defcon boy. Van den Berg will probably go above Hill. Not too bad. Chow, we'll do Chow and Anderson. Maybe something like this. And something like this. Murillo's not going on the bench list. He's too much of a differential. So I'm not going to throw him in, unfortunately. But where would Murillo go? Probably somewhere around Vandenberg or Hill. Somewhere around there. Similar. Gravenberg, too much of a differential. Not going to put him in here. Keane's already on there. No, Keane's there. He's at the bottom. Unfortunately for him. Virgil is interesting. Can we also use this as a 1-week punt list? You absolutely can, Fardine. You absolutely can. Virgil can go probably above Hill, above Vandenberg. Will he go above Enzo? No. Virgil can go here. So not bad. Joao Pedro. For me, all of the forwards are below a lot of midfielders. So let's put Joao Pedro. Where would I rate him? Below Mbermo. Would I put him below some of these defenders? He's definitely above Rodgers. He's probably below Mbermo. I'm going to put him there. I think. Nah. I'm going to put him here. I'm going to put him above Mbermo. Just because of the rotation risk Mbermo has, but Joao Pedro does not. Cool. Van Hecker? Van Hecker is like bottom tier. Maybe I should make a line. Is this gonna? It might get too confusing, but maybe I'll do a line where if you have these players as part of your starting 11, it's worth making a free transfer to get someone else, and then separate line where it might be worth making a hit to replace them. Actually, there's probably not going to be a hit line. Free transfer line. There you go. That is my free transfer line. If you have, as part of your 11 playing players, anyone below the free transfer line, I think it's probably worth using a free transfer to get someone else in. Or at least possibly worth it. This is the point where I'd start considering it. I could potentially even throw Alderete below the line. I could definitely consider throwing Alderete below the line. If it's a hit, though, no. I don't think any of these players, I think it's worth taking a hit to remove. I'll just play them. Right, happy days. Happy days. Is Reynildo below the line? Probably, yeah. Yeah. Bowen. We can throw Bowen in here. And Calvert-Lewin. Bowen and Calvert-Lewin seem to be popular in the chat. Bowen can go... For me, Bowen's above Joao Pedro, I think. We'll put him there. And Calvert-Lewin, maybe even above Bowen. Because the penalties. It's the penalty factor. I'll put him above Dango as well. There you go. The FT stands for full time. anyone below it, Dan doesn't think plays 90. You know what? Aside from Alderete and maybe Van Hecker, you're kind of right. It seems I was behind in the stream and didn't see the FT line. No problem. What's in now? Are the lines different sizes? The lines look different sizes to me. Oh, maybe they weren't. Clicker says, what? Bruno here? Wilson? Gordon? Idiot list. It's not an idiot list. Now, I did say earlier that I think that today's bench list, because a lot of people are looking for 1 week punts, today's bench list can also be used as a 1 week punt list. There you go. That stands for 1 week punts. OWPs. -4 for a defender. Probably not. -4 for Gordon. It depends who you're selling. If you're selling a player who literally doesn't have a fixture, and the only way to get to 11 men is to take a -4, then yeah, maybe at that point I would do it. But if it's just to replace another player and you slightly preferred Gordon and you want to take a -4, then probably not. Xhaka above or below the free transfer line? Above. In fact, I'm going to throw him here, just above. Dewsbury Hall would also go above, I think. I do wonder if this list is getting a little bit bloated. So you would start DCL over Mbeumo? I think I would, yeah. I think I would. But that's only because I'm factoring in that small possibility of Mbeumo getting benched. I'm factoring that in, and that's, I think, why I'm ranking him a little bit lower, because I think we have to factor that in. Aaron Kersey in the chat. Hello, Aaron. Whose kit do you have on? I'm so glad you asked. I have. It is Seattle Sounders' third shirt from this season. Is this No, this is possibly last season now, because the new season will be starting, won't it? So I think this is last season's Seattle Sounders MLS shirt. And it's a beaut. It's a beaut. Right, let's take a small break from the bench list, because I said I wanted to look at some of the replies of people encouraging me to captain Wilson. 10 out of 10. I actually agree. This is probably one of my favourite shirts I've bought in the last year. Definitely top 3. Yeah, the Arsenal Sega one is the number 1. It is definitely the number 1 that I've got in the last year, without a shadow of a doubt. Where is that right now? Oh, it's over there. Yes, let's look at Twitter to see if anyone could convince me. So we're going to take the bench list off screen for a moment. I'm going to go to this. Oh, wait, where's my tweet? Here it is. Okay. 35 replies. Okay. Right. FPL Norway says everyone's captaining Bruno this week, but Bournemouth have a better XGC at home than Arsenal. That's actually true. I read that stat earlier. And by the way, guys, just to verify what I'm saying here, when Bournemouth play at home, they concede less XG per game than Arsenal do when Arsenal play at home. So Bournemouth at home, and this is kind of backed up. Like, let's go FOTMob. This is backed up, and this is one of the reasons why today I've kind of had a bit of a Wilson epiphany. This is kind of backed up by the results. Playing at home, 0 goals conceded to Brentford, 1 goal conceded to Sunderland, 1 goal conceded to Aston Villa. In fact, that's 2 goals conceded to Liverpool. Like, they've had, particularly in like the last month or so, a lot of low-scoring games. And a lot of that is down to their home form, where they're just not conceding XG, not conceding chances. That is a convincing argument. And it is a convincing argument to captain Wilson. It's looking at Bournemouth and their home form. So, yes, just to complete this, Bruno plays them away on Friday night, the first game of the game week. I'm still leaning towards it, but is this a trap? FPL Norway, huge. I need more convincing. Deddy Settons just says, join us. Not convincing enough for me. If I own Wilson, I would do it, says FPL Sting. He scored 16 points in a reverse fixture and is Fulham's main attacking outlet on set pieces to a Burnley team vulnerable to them. There's only 8 weeks left to chase some rank upside. There is some good points there. I'm going to give that one a like. I like that. FPL Genesis says no more than 1 goal scored in United's last 3 away games. See, that is something I didn't know. Man United fixtures. Let's look at their away games. They scored 1 against Newcastle, 1 against Everton, 1 against West Ham. I don't think we can really go further back than that because of pre-Carrick. But oh no, Arsenal. Arsenal was Carrick, no? And they scored 3 goals against Arsenal. And yeah, that's as far back as we go. Yeah, so that is fair. Their away form has not been particularly good. You know, there's maybe some convincing that has been done there. I like that. Anything else that's particularly convincing? FPL Poll says much better fixture already hauled against Burnley. Bruno's away form is not as great as home. Harry Wilson is playing Burnley at home. What more do you need? I like it. Only if Harry Wilson is on penalties. No, he's not. He's not. Man United has the first fixture. Good enough reason to not captain Bruno. I don't mind that. I mean, it's illogical, but yeah, I don't hate it. Man United has a horrible away form, and Bournemouth have been so good recently, defensively at least. I really think it would be a nice draw game. Low chance of Bruno getting goals and assists. Gandhi, does Gandhi count for the Friday game? Gandhi's more of a Saturday early fixture. Wilson is who I'm captain this week. Come on, Man United. It's Burnley, and his home form is... come on, man. It's Burnley, and his home form is superb. I was a little convinced by that one, actually. This guy, Captain Bruno, twice. And he blanked. You miss 100% of the chances you don't take. True. Don't. Bruno is more pivotal to his side. That's true. Chasing the assist record and on pens. How can you chase... Right, can I just nip this one in the bud? How would you chase an assist record? Doesn't that just mean, like, when you... The only way you can actively chase an assist record, because it's largely dependent on your teammates scoring, the only way you can do that is to be in goal-scoring opportunities and refusing to shoot. Which I don't think is a good thing. So chasing an assist record actually could be a bad thing. So you know what, Mohammed, inadvertently, you've just helped convince me, push me a little bit further to Wilson. Fair enough. Right, come on. Anything else? Yeah, the assist point is not helpful at all. Well, anything Attack on Titan is always going to be convincing. Never back the early kick. I don't know if it counts it. Peter Edison, as a diehard Fulham fan, no, don't do it. But refuse to give further reasoning. Elaborate, please, sir. Arsenal fan says, "I'll do it if you do." I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to convince others if they don't want to do it. This guy's glad he got Wilson back. Bruno is nothing but a penalty-dependent bum who vultures DEFCON points. He's not even doing that anymore. Brave man dies first. That's a fair point. It's his birthday weekend. Such a good point. It's Harry Wilson's birthday on Sunday. It's Harry Wilson's birthday on Sunday. Listen, I can't lie. Points were made. Points were made today. I don't know if I'm fully convinced, but I'm certainly closer. The benchless back on screen. Borlak says, I went with Wilson just so I wasn't following the crowd. I'm so far down my mini league, I may as well take a punt. If you are, chasing, then yeah, Wilson, a good opportunity. S Red says you can chase assist record by, I don't know, taking every set piece possible. Notice he's taking Mbeumo's corners now. Yeah, but he was already taking 90% of the set pieces. To be fair. So outside of that, all it's going to mean is going to be passing when he should be shooting. Jeremy says, I'm convinced Wilson gets the captain. Bear in mind, we've only looked at one side of the argument today. And I just want to make that dreadfully clear. But I enjoyed the arguments nonetheless. Are you going with Bruno, Dan? I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like I probably should go with Bruno, but I'll be honest, I don't want to. I don't want to go for Bruno. I want to captain Wilson. Buying Szoboszlai or McAllister? Definitely Szoboszlai over McAllister. JC's just said, geez, Rick, I just noticed Chalobah is out until May. 6-week injury, which would take us till May, wouldn't it? Wait, really? May is in 6 weeks? We are so close to the end of the season, aren't we? I keep forgetting how close we are to the end of the season. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like, because we've still got lots of double game weeks and blank game weeks and chips to use, it feels like there's still a lot of points on the board when we're looking for like rank. But actually, we are in the final. Well, we're past 75% way through the season now. There you go. YT Snowball says Wilson is en route to be the second British player in a single season to score 10 plus goals under Fulham. Andy Cole's the first. Really? Wow, that's an interesting stat. Yes, Anderson is the obvious Chalobah replacement, I think, if you do need to get 11 men. How long we got till deadline? 35 minutes. Getting there. I need to replace Rice, Szoboszlai. I like Szoboszlai. I do like Szoboszlai as a pick, as a punt. Armband on Wilson just decided. Well, you're braver than I am. You're braver than I am. I wish I could do it. Thiago or Joao Pedro? There's not much in it between the two. There's not really much in it. They should add a double captainship. You have 2 captains in a week. That would be pretty fun, actually. I like that. I'd use it on a double game week if I had it, though. Gordon captain is the way. Not for me. Jeremy says, tell Thomas Tuchel to get Wilson on Team England. Oh, Jeremy, you've made a blunder there, my friend. You've made a blunder there. But Wilson is not English. He's Welsh. He's a boyo. He is a boyo. And every day he tucks into his lamb and leek supper in order to score some goals. And some assists for the mighty Fulham. He's a boyo. Borlak says, I like a chip that removed your captain and vice captain for the week. It just doubles your high scoring player. Oh, yeah, like an auto captain. That's, yeah, I swear I've seen that. I think I saw that chip in like either in was it in World Cup Fantasy or Club World Cup Fantasy, maybe? Oops, tell Chris Coleman. Yeah, maybe Chris Coleman needs to. I think Chris Coleman is already kind of firmly playing Wilson. Well, apparently FPL Fran is captaining Wilson. And that is convincing. He's doing really well this season. And he's a data guy. I wouldn't have thought Wilson is the data pick. That is tempting. That helps. That helps. FPL Fran captaining Wilson. Because I do definitely respect his opinion as an FPL manager a lot. I'd definitely be willing to be on the same ship as him, regardless of whether it sinks. FPL Harry is captaining Palmer? No, he's not. Really? Surely not. I just don't believe that's true. I'm going to try Captain Wilson on for size. I'm just going to have a look at it and see if it looks nice. If it looks really nice, then maybe we'll keep it. But if it looks horrible, yuck, disgusting, then maybe we'll change it. How does that look? It looks okay. I wouldn't say it looks perfect. But I think I do quite the look of the captaining a home player. It looks not bad. It doesn't look bad. I think my biggest issue is that I'm captaining a player in a white kit. I think that's what's freaking me out a bit. Because I never captain players playing in white. Like whenever do you captain a Fulham player or a Leeds player or a Spurs player? You just don't, right? So this feels wrong because it's captaining a player wearing a white kit. But put your kits aside, it's a good pick. Let's try something. Let's try something out. In fact, I want to try something. I'm trying to do something. It's not working. No, actually, am I doing this wrong? I'm probably doing this wrong, but I feel like I can fix this. That's not working, man. I don't know why. Shirt number is 43220. So if I just change this to... Why is this not working? Sorry, I will get there. That should have worked. I don't know why it hasn't. FPL Raptors captain Gordon, he is chasing, to be fair, so I can understand why he's kind of going a little more crazy with it. $43. Shirt number 43. Okay, what if I change this? There we go. Okay. That. now look at it. I fixed it. Now it looks better, right? Yeah. Now we're in business. That looks like a good captain all of a sudden. Yeah, we like that. Absolutely stunning. Triple captain needed. I mean, yeah, to be fair. FPL Tech Genius. I mean, it took me ages to find the line of code that actually changed the shirt, but we got there eventually. What does Hub say? Wilson versus Fernandez. I think Hub has Wilson above. To be fair, let's have a look. Yeah. So Hub has Wilson 0.2 above Wilson. But like some other models have it the other way around. I don't like that there's only one in blue though. Should make it red, then perfect. No, because it stands out a little bit more. I think I like the fact that it stands out as the only guy in blue. We won't run away from the boys in the blue. It's a no-brainer now. It does seem like a no-brainer now, doesn't it? Rip red, white, or red and white team. Yeah, true. Like, all the more reason. Like, this looks good, man. This looks good all of a sudden. Max says, sorry I'm late, Dan. Hope you're doing all good. 11 playing players, 0.2 million in the bank. 1 free transfer. One of my players is a Steph. Would you leave it? With only 1 free transfer, I probably would leave it. Yeah. Probably. Can you actually? I want to reply to Fran. Do you have time to tell me why I'm edging right now? I'm on the edge. Wilson's in a City shirt. I know. How did that happen? Crazy. Haaland versus Ekatike versus Pedro. I don't really know what you mean by that, Ayan. Like if you have a free transfer and you want to remove Haaland to get 11 men, then yes. Hey Dan, any news on Salah? Oh, he's out. Salah is out, unfortunately. Always knew you were a gooner, Dan. I certainly am. Thoughts on buying Thiago, Stack, and Hill? I mean, I'm kind of indifferent to all of those players. I don't think there's any player there that I think is, like a must-have buy or anything like that for this week. Where's the list? The bench list. I'll put it on screen for you. Thoughts on Alderete to Chow? Yeah, maybe if you have a couple of free transfers, maybe. Cheers, Dan. So instead of Salah, Wilson or Gordon. I prefer Wilson, but both are good. If you do prefer Gordon to Wilson, then fine. But I think I prefer Wilson, as kind of backed up by the fact that I'm looking at captaining him. No show team gang today. The show team gang don't even need to be asking. Like I'm just delivering. I'm just pretty openly sharing my team, like throughout the whole stream. I've already made my transfer, so it's pretty straightforward. Right, Dan, I'm third in my league at the moment. Top don't have Wilson. Should I go for it? Well, if you have Wilson, you've already got the differential on him, right? Or her. But there's nothing to suggest that they might just buy Wilson this week as well. Got to be careful about that. But yeah, maybe. But yeah, maybe you captain double down if you really want to catch up. If there's a big gap there, this could be your opportunity, maybe. I think Ekatike plays. I do think Ekatike plays, yeah. Like, we saw what happened with Liverpool playing second string against Spurs last week. And there's now no Salah either. Like, I just don't see a world in which Ekatike doesn't start at this point. Hall or Chow for this week only. Chow is your safe bet because of the DEFCON. Dan, who do I start? Dubravka or Petrovic? Doing my Sweden. Who do I have on the bench list? Higher. I swear I already did this. I have Dubravka. Oh, I didn't put Petrovic in, did I? Okay, in that case, I would still put Petrovic above. Would I put Petrovic above for Bruggen? It's tight, actually. Yeah, I think I would, though. Would I put him above Pickford? That's the next question. Yeah, I think I probably would. I'm going to put Petrovic here. Petrovic star. There we go. Comedy Addict says 11 start, Salah benched, free transfer in Sobo and bench and Jai. Luxury. It's luxury. It's not needed. It's not required. So, yeah. Not convinced by that one. Why Hill over Alderete for you, Dan? Hill playing at home, better chance of DEFCON, better attacking threat. A couple of reasons. Thiago on the list. Like, I feel like Thiago would just go, like, somewhere here, maybe? Maybe there? Pradeep says, to win manager of the month, should I play triple captain on Bruno? All the other top 5 managers don't have triple captain. I don't love it, to be honest. I don't think this is one of the better opportunities for Bruno triple captain, to be honest. But like, if you are dead set on playing a win manager of the month this month, then maybe maybe you're going to get better opportunities elsewhere, though, to be honest. I don't know. I've never really played monthly leagues in FPL, so I'm probably not the right person to ask in terms of strategy there. Who are the 100 experts mainly captaining? Bruno. They're captaining Bruno. Well, they're naturally going to go for the safer pick, I think. So I play Maguire or Hill? That's a good question. Maybe Hill. Is free hit good to use? No, in my opinion. What is the FT line? The FT line is the free transfer line. It's the line in which I would start to consider using free transfers to replace playing players. Which week to use triple captain? Probably game week 36 for triple captain. Should I sell Haaland and buy Ekatike? If you want to, yeah. That's an okay transfer, I think. Cash starts. Cash started. Played in the midweek, so he's fine. I prefer Bassi to Cash though. Even if you have Anderson, I prefer Bassi to Cash. But if you already have Cash, then yeah, he's fine. Giandre says there's a world where people need a bench list this week. Oh, the luxury. Yeah, I know. But I think the bench list this week is doubling up as a 1 week punt list. Like the Virgil or Anderson 1 week punt, it's Anderson over Virgil. Particularly now Allison has been ruled out, injured. Should I play Mark Q or take a -4? Probably. I take a -4 only if you're bringing in a player that you're confident in. If you're taking a -4 to bring in a player that actually you're not fully convinced by, then I would rather just play with 10 men. Szoboszlai or Gordon? I'm leaning a little bit more towards Szoboszlai to Gordon, but I don't think there's much in it. When should you use the free hit? I think most people will use their free hit in Game Week 34. Mukiele for Anderson from -4. No. There's still a solid chance Mukiele plays. So you won't be playing with 10 men. Kind of playing with 10.5 men. So I don't think I'd take a -4 to replace anyone who's on this bench list. I wouldn't take a -4 to replace them. But like below a certain point, I would maybe use free transfers to replace them. Palmer or Szoboszlai? Oh, I prefer Szoboszlai to Palmer. I'm not. I think Palmer is decent, but I think there are better options than him this week. Mukiele to Virgil for free. I don't think I'd do it to Virgil. I'd maybe do it if it was to Anderson or to Chow. Anna Connor says Gordon / Palmer and Hecker. Any other suggestions? No wildcard. Bench boost 33. Yeah, I mean, if you've got no wildcard, you're looking at Newcastle, you're looking at Chelsea. You're primarily looking at Newcastle this week, I think. Yeah, Chelsea and you've pretty much aced it. If you haven't got a wild card, you're looking at Chelsea, Newcastle, and Brighton players if you want to try and get lots of double game week players for 33. Sid Vicious says buy Wilson to get 12 men and bench Alderete or roll. If it's for free, I would consider it, Sid Vicious, particularly if you want to captain Wilson. Giandre says, I see you fancy Szoboszlai over Gordon. Interesting. Can you explain why, please, Dan? I think it's, for me, in a game week like this, where we're not expecting many points, I like a player who has routes to points. Now, fair enough, Gordon is, on penalties, and that's a great route to point, and I like the fixture too. Probably a better fixture than Liverpool. However, I feel that, and there's not much between the two players for me, but I feel that Szoboszlai just has more routes to points. With no Salah, he's on penalties. He's on all corners, all free kicks. Well, not all corners necessarily, not all free kicks, but he's on like 90% of corners and free kicks. And he's also, a potential DEFCON man as well. So he has so many different ways to get points that just feels safer. Gordon, on the other hand, playing as a striker, you would maybe say there is some opportunity to be explosive there. He only needs one goal, and Szoboszlai's corner assist or DEFCON is going to look like, chump change. But Gordon also has the risk of getting that 60, 65, 70, 80 minute sub. Szoboszlai is going to play till the full-time whistle. And I think when you factor everything in altogether, I do think I prefer Szoboszlai to Gordon only now that Salah's injured. Before Salah's injury, I would have said Gordon over Szoboszlai. Because I think the penalty factor just about, and it's close, it swings it in Szoboszlai's favour for me. But I don't think everyone will agree with that. Do you think Szoboszlai plays right back or attacking midfield? I think probably attacking midfield. But I mean, either one is possible. Because Gomez is not available. But Frimpong probably plays right back, no? Why is Creepy so low? Minutes risk. Joao Pedro captain? Definitely not. There are so many better options than Joao Pedro this week, I feel. Ayan, please stop spamming emojis. Thank you very much, sir. Holo Chow. Chow is your safer bet. On free hit. Oh no, Sean, why are you on free hit? Double Fulham defense or double Newcastle? Probably double Newcastle, only because there's more attacking options from Fulham. When you're looking at the attacking options from Newcastle, it's pretty much Gordon, and that's it, right? Early United team news. You never know. We could get it. We could get it. You fixed on Wilson, captain? No. Definitely not. Well, we've got more replies to the Wilson captain tweet. Let's have a look at that. As is going to be captaining Wilson, so that should be enough to put me off. Fran's not replied to this one yet. It's just people with different opinions, I guess. By the way, the thing about Bruno getting DEFCON, I don't know if that's super nailed on necessarily. Jandra says, I suppose the list doubles as a captaincy ranking as well. Yeah. Thoughts on XTK captain? I'm chasing a little bit. I don't think if you're chasing and you want to go differential captain, I don't think you need to go as low down the list as Ekatike. And there's loads of other players that hardly anyone will captain this week. Like even Wilson will not be that heavily captained this week. He really won't. I keep forgetting, like, I've put Wilson in a Man City shirt. It's really, really throwing me off. I might do a little refresh. Esteve would go at the bottom of the bench list. Pretty much. Start one of Elliot Anderson or Dango. What a luxurious position to be in. I guess Elliot Anderson, but, like, you want to play both, really. To the extent where I don't think there's 3 forwards that are better than those guys. I'd probably rather bench. You probably have a forward that you can bench before benching Anderson and Dango, probably. Where on the bench list does Creeper Jr. go if it leaks he starts? Not really that much higher, to be honest. Because you probably expect a 2-pointer from him. 2 points and subbed at 60. As is the Creeper Jr. tradition. Thoughts on selling Haaland? Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do it. The problem with selling Haaland is there's not really many replacements like that really inspire confidence. This is a sign, Wilson in a City shirt. I mean, it's not a sign. I mean, I literally went into the code and changed it on the front end. Well, on my local end. So it was very much me doing that. Just to try and help convince myself to captain him. Because I'm struggling. If I'm leading my mini league by 15 points, is captaining Wilson a good idea? If your priority is winning your mini league, then probably not. You just can play it safe, right? Probably should change Wilson back to normal. Or should we try him in a... Should we try him in a different shirt? I don't know what number Arsenal is. I've definitely messed things up. Let's refresh. Let's put him back in his lovely Fulham. Soy Kieran says, hi, Dan, I have 1 free transfer and I can't decide if I should transfer Hill out for Chow or play Hill and transfer Haaland out for Pedro Thiago. I think selling Hill is a pretty luxurious transfer this week. But if you have 11 men already, then you probably don't need to transfer Haaland out either. So it looks to me, based on what you've said there, that you actually don't need to make a transfer at all. Because if you have 11 men, including Hill, then your squad is probably in okay shape, and rolling a transfer could be a wise idea. So I definitely wouldn't do Hill to Chow. And, Haaland to Pedro, Haaland to Thiago. I'm just not convinced enough by Pedro or Thiago. I'm more convinced by Thiago than I am Pedro, to be fair. Maybe there's some argument to do Haaland to Thiago, but if you already have 11 playing men, then you probably don't need to do it. Hill versus Cash. I guess that's kind of close. I mean, I am a Hill fanboy, but I think it is kind of close. Cash has better clean sheet chances, but Wilson, that's Wilson. Hill is. That looks interesting. It's an orange super chat. That's never often. No questions today. Just to say thank you. My rank is around 99,000 because I watch most of your videos and follow most of your advice, especially your bench list. Thank you, Dan. Temmie, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you very much. I really, really do appreciate that. And yeah, I'm really glad we're helping out. And hopefully long may that continue. Long may that continue to the end of the season. Yeah, I think if you're in the top 100k at this point in the season, you're in a really good position. Really good. Even if you're out, even you're top 500k, you still do a lot this season. Still do a lot. It's a good position. Thank you very much, Temmie. Appreciated. Ekatike will be my only starting striker with Krupi and Haaland on the bench. That's fine. That's fine. Not really a problem with that. Forwards, strikers, they're not really doing it for me this week anyway, to be honest. So Wasn't me who requested Van Hecker on the bench list this time. Yeah, I know. He's on there, though. Any news on Burmo? And this is what I'm kind of looking out for, just trying to find to see if there is a chance of some kind of leak. But to be honest, I'm not seeing anything. Other than, yeah. Just seeing a lot of people talking about how they're captaining Bruno. How very, very entertaining. Oh, maybe this is the time, man. Matt with a super chat says start stack with 4 other good midfielders or use a third transfer for free to do Richards to another defender. Got Anderson, Virgil, and Alderete wildcarding 32. Probably just start stack, to be honest. I think I'd just start stack. Stack is not that bad, is he? Those of you asking me if I'm 100% confident or sure about Wilson captain, I am not 100% at all. I'm like 51% sure about captaining Wilson. There is every possibility that I bottle it before we get to the deadline. But I just prefer Wilson. And I genuinely do prefer Wilson as a captain this week. And the only reason I'm not captaining Wilson, or wouldn't captain Wilson, is because I'm just trying to play it safe. Which doesn't really feel like me. So, do I mind the risk? I've been trying to limit my risk this season, to be honest. Only taking it when I feel confident, where I see an opportunity for a risk, or low risk differentials in many ways. But this one seems a little higher risk. Why don't you play the free hit this game week? I have absolutely no need to play the free hit this game week. My team's fine. Prepared. Knew it was coming. Dan, any data on how well captaining versus Burnley has fared for you so far this season? I'm not sure. Not sure. Do what the experts did. Experts captaining Bruno primarily, but some are captaining Wilson. Yeah, both are good picks, man. Both are good picks. I just think maybe there's a little more to it than Bruno score points, me captain Bruno. Show team gang dropping in to try and get me to fully commit on Wilson. I'm not doing it. Those jumping in stream to see why I'm captaining Wilson versus Bruno. I've spoken about this at length already. I've spoken about this at length. All I can say is if you want to take a risk, Wilson is a good captain. If you want to play it safe, Bruno is a good captain. And honestly, I don't think I'd go anywhere else for captaincy. So right now, my captain's armband is on Wilson, but I think there is a chance that I bail, bottle it, and go for the safe, secure, comfy Bruno. I think the problem is captaining Wilson can ruin my weekend. Captaining Bruno can't. It just can't. I mean, to be fair, Bruno's not really been shooting. The problem is if Bruno gets a penalty, then I'm cooked. If Bruno gets a penalty, at that point, I'm completely screwed. And that, my friends, is my concern. I have 3 minutes to make my mind. Oh, just... Maybe I just do this. Maybe I just do this. I've not taken many captain risks this season. Or have I? I don't know. Maybe I have. Oh! Wilson captain is a Dan kind of captain. It's an FPL Mate kind of captain, right? Correction, if Bruno scores a penalty, you're screwed. That's a fair point. As a wise Dan once said, take a risk, but not for captaincy. Maybe. Ugh. Really struggling here. Really struggling. Is it time to lock in? Is it time to lock in? Are we just going to do this? Should I just lock in Wilson? I need to walk. I don't like this, guys. This frightens me. This frightens me a lot. Not the week to take risks. You could be right. You could be onto something. Porro, Frimpong, Szoboszlai, Raul as differentials. Yeah, I like Szoboszlai and Raul the most out of those players. Don't like the rest so much. Flip a coin? Could this be the... Oh, I've got less than a minute till deadline, so there's no time for flip a coin, really. I don't like this. This is not fun at all. This is not fun. Do I really want to ruin my weekend? It's... Maybe I bottle it. I'm going to bottle it. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm clearly not comfortable with this. I'm bottling it with 10 seconds. There's no point. I'm not going to risk ruining my weekend. I'm not confident enough in it. And I can still gain points. So I've bottled it. I've bottled it. That's the sensible choice. I hate it. Why? I hate it that I've done that. I hate it. But this is I've got to be smart. I got to play this smart. Ah! Ah! Horrible, 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 horrible. Oh, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. But it's done now. I don't think I'd be happy either way. I think I would be. It's just the smart one. It's just a smart choice. I just think I'm doing well at the moment. I'm doing well at the moment. I hope it's saved, by the way. There is every chance that the captain switch didn't save. So I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll see. By the way, amongst all of that, Marty sent a gifted membership, and Hudson received it. Although, Marty, I must encourage you, if you are going to send gifted memberships, which I do really appreciate, by the way, maybe after deadline, when the show team gang have disappeared. Bottle job, yeah, fair enough. I own it. I own it. And honestly, like I said, like, I don't think there's a bad choice. I think it's just about risk appetite. And I just, I don't know. I'm going to be annoyed either way. I played it safe, though. And I hate myself for it. What have you done? I told you, Bruno. Yeah, lots of people said lots of things. I captained Wilson because of you, and you changed last minute. Well, look, the fact that they're both, that I was so tight between the decision between the two, kind of suggests that there's not, in my opinion, there's not much between the two in terms of who you should go for. So, unless your aim is to literally copy every single thing I do, which you have failed to do, unfortunately, then, you know, I think you're getting a captain just as good. I honestly, I think they're both great. I'm not doing a retrospective coin toss. I can't even stand still or sit still. I'm too. Oh my word. Daniel says, you're going into a responsible FPL player. I stuck to your heart and went Wilson. I am. I've been called boring. It was a tactical move from Dan to throw off the competition. No, it's really not. I wish I had the bravery to captain Wilson. And if I encouraged you to captain Wilson, for whatever reason, then I'm glad I was able to inspire you to do that. And I wish someone was able to inspire me to captain Wilson. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. But like I said, I changed my captain with about 15 seconds till deadline. So, like, there is every chance that it didn't save in time, it didn't process, and that I've got Wilson captain after all. So we'll find out. We'll find out in about half an hour, 45 minutes, whether I actually did captain Wilson or not. So I don't know. Got to play your position. Above 1 million rank should realistically do Bruno, under should do Wilson. The other way around, I would say. That was cowardly. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I'll own it. Maybe they will tie. Maybe they will. Maybe there'll be like 1 or 2 points between the two players, and then all of this panic was for nothing. Oh, there we go. Oh, so annoying, man. So annoying. I wish I honestly, I genuinely do wish I had the minerals to go Wilson, but I don't. I didn't. Bruno Pennell finished the week, and I think that's probably what swung me. I started thinking, okay, if Bruno gets a penalty, then it's game over. I don't know what the probability of that happening is. 15, 20% maybe chance of Bruno getting a penalty. At that point, it's game over. But yeah, 50-50 decision. We'll see how it turns out. But I think I just honestly, like, I can't be asked with the stress of it all, to be honest. And all week I've been talking about, like, I'm going to captain Bruno. I'm going to captain Bruno. All week I've said I'm going to captain Bruno. It's only today that the Wilson thoughts have crept in. So there you go. There you go. Let's end the captain poll, by the way. For the majority of you guys seem to go for Bruno as well, to be fair. 70% Bruno, 23% Wilson, 5% other, 2% Thiago. Ian says, just DM'd Wilson, told him you didn't captain him. He said he'll take it easy this week. Good. Rest now, FPL mate. I can't rest. My heart rate is too high at this point. Sophie forgot the deadline. Oh, guess you do have 3 free transfers now. That is something. Terrace says, will you thank me later live for taking my advice to Captain Wilson? I didn't captain Wilson, so definitely will not. Let's go United. Well, I guess I'm a United fan tonight now. Guess there's that. Should have chosen captain with a duck race. Well, could have been the play. To be honest, if it works, I'm a genius. If it doesn't, it's Dan's fault. I'm clear from stress. Yeah, fair. Baby dog, team captain Wilson as well. I'm jealous. Honestly, I am jealous of those who were brave enough to captain Wilson. But as an FPL content creator, I must maintain some shred of responsibility. Anna says, my team is the same as yours, except Pedro instead of Ekatike. It didn't have enough transfers for Anderson. Stuck with Enzo. Have totally tripped up going for Pedro. Wilson and Dango for a -4. If you're taking a -4 to get 11 men or like 11 solid men on the field, I don't think that's such a bad thing. I don't think that's so bad. Are you guys all going to blame me if... Wait, how can you blame me if Wilson doesn't work out when I didn't even captain Wilson? How can you blame me? You can't. I'm free from all responsibility. Much needed international break upcoming. Yeah, it's going to be a 3-week break as well. It's going to be a long one. Because immediately after the international break, we have FA Cup, then Champions League in the midweek, and then the Premier League's back. So it's like an enormous break. You edged everyone into thinking you're captaining Wilson. I edged myself into thinking I was captaining Wilson. But like when it got to it, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. There will be another opportunity for me to go for a differential captain. I just need to keep telling myself that. What is this? It's the wrong version. This is what I'm looking for. Look at the state of technically the size of Game Week 31. How big is this? It's so long. My chip strategy is likely to be Game Week 32 Wildcard, Game Week 33 Bench Boost, Game Week 34 Free Hit. Very likely, like 90% sure I'm going to do that. As a United fan, I only get to watch them once a month now. How come? Why is that? Why you got me stressing over your captain decisions? Apologies. I bottled it in the end. I remember I took a risk last week and should have stuck with Bruno. In Bruno we trust. Feels like a low scoring but crucial game week this week. I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. I definitely feel a similar way. Right, 5 minutes till lineups. We'll get to see who is starting. Hopefully Mbermo's starting. I'll be a little bit annoyed if he isn't, to be honest. And what else do we need? Oh yeah, Footy and Mini League. Hang on, can I just dot what is it? .club. Has anyone joined? No, I'm not even signed in. Has anyone joined my Footium League yet? That is the big question. Let's throw it on here. Right, hang on, I can't. There we go. Yes. Yes. Has anyone seen this game? You might have seen it in my video yesterday, but I thought I'd just again, not yesterday where I got sponsored to talk about them. I wanted to do it, but today, not being paid to say this. I genuinely want people to get involved in this because I think it's so cool. This game is basically it's free to play, and I'm going to play this over the international break, and hopefully 3 weeks over the international break. That will be most of this new season. It's basically like Football Manager, but like Football Manager RPG, like made up players and stuff. So you pick your players. Well, first of all, you choose a club that you want to manage. It's a fictional club. You get offered a bunch of clubs. It's so cool. I picked a team called St. Dart, and you have your players. You can train them up. And then you'll get assigned into a league, and the top 2 teams from each league will be promoted to the division up. And so it's 12 people per league. Hang on, I'll show you how the league kind of pyramid kind of works. I might as well. I think this is so cool. So in Division 8, there's loads of leagues, like loads. And then as you go up the divisions, there's less and less leagues in each division. But yeah, if you get promoted, you go up and up and up and up all of the divisions to try and get to Division 1. Seasons are obviously 12 teams. They are 22 games long, and yeah, basically games are played throughout each week on each day. The first game of the new season starts on, is it Monday the 24th? Is it like Amway? I'm not sure. I don't know how what Amway is. Is it realistic timeline? How does that work in the sense of multiple people in the same league? Yeah, so every day the games are played, and all you need to do is set your team up in advance. But like, you could just leave your team every week, to be fair. Does it have an app or just browser? It's just browser. But yeah, you can start playing for free as well. And then there is a paid version as well. And if you do the paid version, then you get access to some other stuff, and that's for people who really want to take this seriously. To be fair, I've got I upgraded because I played a little bit last season, thought it was really cool, and now I'm just going to be smashing it over the international break. And hopefully, my goal is to win Division 8, League 6, so I can go into Division 7 for next season, which would be really cool. But yeah, there's like a transfer market as well. You can buy players and stuff. You've got an academy. You've got your own club. You can upgrade your stadium, and the more you upgrade your stadium, the better home advantage you get. You have history. Like you can look at like the all-time top scorers for your club and stuff. So you can build like over time like the history and legacy of your club, which is cool. Yeah, and I've got, and this is all like it's online multiplayer, which is so cool. And I've got a mini league as well, and obviously everyone's in their own individual leagues, but basically whoever scores the most points scores the most points, gets the best goal difference, etc., in their own respective like divisions league. If you get a lot of points, you could win the FPL Mate Cup as well. And if you win the FPL Mate Cup, then they give you a free upgrade on your club, which is worth $80. So you get $80 worth of in-game prizes to upgrade your club if you win this. And I'm going to try and get them to do more prizes and stuff for you guys as well, because I think if you guys are getting involved, we've already got, how many of you guys? 92 of you guys are already in the league. If you want to join the league, there is a link in the video description. I can post that link as well in the chat if that's easier for you guys. So if you do want to join the league to go for the prize, then there you go. There's a link in the chat. And if you're watching this on a television, I guess I can put a QR code on screen. Hang on. Let me actually figure out how I'm going to do that. Lineups are out. Okay, 1 second. Let me just do this quickly first. And then we'll do that. So there you go. There's a QR code for you as well. I'll get rid of that in a second. There you go. Is it regulated to prevent someone doing unrealistic transfers? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Right, lineups. Anything crazy? Anything crazy? Let's go Man United. And Burmo starts. Okay. Okay, and Burmo starts. Let's just remove this for a second. Anything crazy? Sheshko benched again. Impact sub. Okay. So are we happy with that? That's a pretty normal expected. I'll read it out. Lamans, Dallo, Maguire, Bruno, Cunha, Yoro, Ahmad, Casemiro, and Burmo, Shaw, Mainu. Nothing really out there. As for Bournemouth, oh, we need to see if Krupa Jr. is playing, to be fair. AFC Bournemouth. Petrovic, Traffert, Senesi, Scott, Evan Nilsson, Christie, Tavernier, Jimenez, Adley, Hill, Ryan. So no Krupa Jr. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, the only interesting bit of team news for this evening is no Krupa Jr. Everything else is pretty much as expected. Good stuff. Activating the wildcard tonight? Probably not, to be honest. Like, if we look at the price changes, not really that much going on. Like, of these players, who am I likely to have in a wildcard? I don't know. Maybe Chow, to be fair. Maybe Van Hecker. I already have Wilson, I already have Ekatike. On wildcard, I'm probably not going to have Hall or Gordon. I don't know. I feel like maybe we'll wait for information on a lot of these guys. And actually, there's some players that I want, like Bruno G, decreasing in price, which is nice. So yeah, I think we're gonna hold off. We're gonna hold off. But there we go. That's pretty much me. I'll upgrade you if I do. I'll update you if I do end up wildcarding. You can try and hunt for the double price rise if you want to. I just think I'm going to wait and see how things develop. I'm not that desperate to wildcard. There is a small possibility I don't wildcard, and I want to respect that possibility for now. So I don't know. I'm probably not going to wildcard. But if I change my mind, I'll let you know on Twitter. But yes, last chance. Not really last chance. You can do this at any time before Monday, really. If you want to join the Footium League, link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Could you sell Mbappe for $20? I mean, yeah, I guess technically you could sell Mbappe for $20 if you wanted to in game, but I don't think anyone would do that. But yeah, be good to see a few of you guys in here and competing with you guys, and like let me know as well which club you end up getting, like the name of your club, so I know who's who. Am I playing last fan standing thing? No, I'm not. But anyway, there we go. We're going to leave things there. Thank you so much for everyone for joining for today's stream. Really appreciate you guys. as always, taking the time out of your afternoons, evenings, mornings, whatever, to join me. Good luck this game week. And please don't hate me too much for the Harry Wilson thing and bottling that. We will be back with a differential captain at some point. It's just not the week for it, man. It's just not the week. Right. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. And good luck this game week. It's going to be a fun one. And I'll see you later, mate. Bye-bye.